there was some quite serious damage done to this cathedral in 1943, and behind me is a much more modern looking stained glass window, and it was one of the, I think, 6 that were blown out. I mean, honestly, it's a little incongruous, because if you look at the two the other side, they are markedly different in artistic interpretation. Anyway. So, as keen viewers of my channel might remember from the Basilica of San Petronio in Bologna, which in and of itself was just this sense of cavernous space. This is very much the same kind of thing, but it has an additional aspect, if you like. Now, for those who've been to St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, which is the largest church in the world, it almost fools the eye, because, I mean, my patented zoom in and pan back way of working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you look at a photo of the interior of St. Peter's, you see an archway, and you think, oh, it's an arch. But then you notice the relative size of the people on at ground level on the floor, and it just kind of brings home how vast the place is. This has that same feeling, this cavernous sense of space. It almost fools the eye, because you see things that, in your experience, even my experience, they're not supposed to be that big, if it makes sense. So you're kind of double taking just a slightly little bit with every little thing. It's just incredible. Right, I'm about done. I mean, I think really the statistic that is most telling here, I think I mentioned it before when I was talking outside, is this building can hold 40,000 people for worship. That's a stadium, you know. And the feeling when you have, let's say, midnight mass on Christmas or something like that, Easter, for example, when it's full, must be very, very serious. Yeah. I mean, as you all know, my interest in such things is purely scientific, and when it comes to art and literature, but having that many people all believing the same thing in the same place at the same time, yeah, that is very powerful. An incredible building. Yeah. Hello friends, so I'm underneath the cathedral in what's called the archaeological zone. This is what remains of the Baptistry of San Giovanni alle Fonti, which was 4th century AD. They found it when they were building sewage works in the 1800s and unfortunately carved a massive path through this. But then they realised what they had done, and over the next couple of centuries, especially in the 20th century, this has been excavated and researched. It's really quite something, actually. Right, this is the baptistry itself, where the faithful would come to be baptized. You have water flow coming in through there, filling this up, and there's a rather adorable sign saying don't throw money into it. The baptistry there in relation to the cathedral itself. Yeah, so this was when it was opened up to the air, as it were, in 1962. 1962, if you remember, is 3 years before this cathedral was finally finished with construction after very nearly 6 centuries, and this was a part of that, to restore this baptistry and preserve it as far as possible, and repair some of the damage done in the 1800s when the sewers were being built. This here is a sepulchre, so as with everything else really, there's a tomb behind me there. Eminent clergy and very prominent and probably rather rich lay people would be buried close, depending on their rank, to the holy site. The same thing happens, of course, in everywhere. In the cathedral, there's a rather wonderful very well placed memorial and tomb to one of the archbishops in the past. I think it was 1820. But yeah. I do believe that right there is David and Goliath.